Keyword rank tracking is one of the most important things you can do when you are trying to climb the Google rankings, because if there's no rank tracking at all, or in general no monitoring, then you don't know if you're doing a good job or not. And in total, there are two different options for rank tracking. The first option is to buy an SEO tool, for instance, Ahrefs, SEMrush, or any other tool which provides rank tracking. But in my opinion, the problem is that they are quite expensive and you're also limited to the amount of tracked keywords. So in this case, for Ahrefs in the light plan, it's 750, and for SEMrush, it's in the first plan, or like the cheapest plan, 500 keywords. And once you have, let's say, 100 articles or more on your website, then you also want to track more and more keywords. So at some point you have to buy another plan or decide for which keywords you want to track. And the second option is to use data you already have. So for instance, right now we are looking at the Google Search Console for one of my websites for a given query, and we can see that we already have the data based on the Google search engine. So here I can see I selected a keyword, and then I can analyze the rankings over time. So for instance, here it started everything in 2023, and then at some point, because I knew always where my website is, or let's say the article, then I was able to push some updates, and then at some point I started to get into the top rankings for this keyword. So right now, or like for a few months now, I'm ranking in the top 5, where I know that the user, or like the person who is Googling it, has a intention to buy something. And this is also the reason why I created this automation, which will enable you to track as many keywords as you want to for as many websites you have. But before we will dive into the nodes itself, I would like to show you the necessary worksheets. So in total, we have 3 different worksheets. The first worksheet is the worksheet where you can add your keywords which you want to track. So for instance, here we have domain 1, domain 2. So right now I would have them set up for 2 domains. And for domain 1, I want to track keyword 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is a place where you have to put in all your keywords. And then we have the rank tracking, which looks similar to this. So we have the date, the given URL, which device, keyword, clicks, impression, position, and the click-through rate. So the good thing is that you can always see which domains are ranking for which keyword, and also if there are multiple domains ranking for the same keyword. And finally, we have the top ranking keyword. So this is not based on the keywords list which you have right here. So it doesn't take into account this keywords. Instead, it checks based on a SQL query, what kind of keyword opportunities do you have? So for instance, let's say you have an article and there's a keyword which fits into the topic, but you are like right now at the position 10, 15, or maybe even worse. And then you can think about, does it make sense to add this keyword strategically to my article, or should I write a new article and use this keyword as a focus keyword? So this data helped me a lot in the past whenever I wanted to do data-driven content planning. So now let's dive into the automation itself. On the left side, you have also some instructions. So before we will start, it's important that you have the API enabled for Google Spreadsheets, and you have enabled the bulk export in the Google Search Console, because we are using BigQuery. All right, then let's have a look into the nodes itself. So here we can see that we have like a simple trigger. You can also replace it with a scheduled trigger. And then we have the domains. So in this node, we have the chance to add as many domains as we need to. So for instance, here, this would be like 2 domains, domain 1 and 2. And it's really important that you also add here the table name that you have chosen when enabling the bulk export. Another important part is this one. So if you run the automation for the first time, then we will fetch only data from the last 7 days. So let's say you want to use more data, then you can just adjust it here. So let's say 28, then you would just need to replace the 7 with 28. And then we would take data from the last 28 days. If you have already run the automation, then you don't have to worry if it happens on a daily basis, weekly basis, or even monthly basis, because after this initial run, we will also check if there has been a previous run. And if so, then we take the latest row, check the date, and use this date for the SQL query in this node in order to be able to always have all the data without any gaps. And finally, we will write the results into the Google spreadsheet. And here it's really similar. If you want to fetch more data in the first one, then you have to change this number here. Another important note is that you can set some thresholds inside the SQL query. So for instance, here you only take data if the impression is greater or equal than 5. That means if you have a new website, then 5 impressions might be already a lot. If you have a website with a lot of clicks and impressions, then you can simply adjust it here so that you don't have that noisy data. So now you might ask yourself, how much does it cost me? So the good thing is that the bulk export itself is completely for free. So you don't have to pay anything for the export, but you have to keep in mind that you have to pay for the queries. But the good thing is, again, there's like a free tier. So for instance, here, the first terabyte a month is free. And usually if you don't have a lot of data, then most likely it will be completely for free. And you don't have to worry. So you don't need to build the automation by yourself because it's completely free, and you can simply download both JSON files for the Google Sheets version as well as for the Postgres version from my GitHub repository n8n templates under the folder keyword rank tracker. And you will also find some additional instructions as well as like for both a screenshot, how they look like. And in case you have any questions, then feel free to ask them, and we will see each other in the next video.